The adjoining pie chart gives the marks scored in an examination by a student in Hindi, English, mathematics, social science and science. If the total marks obtained by the students were 540, answer the following questions. So we have three following questions. We have this pie chart and we have different sectors that represent different subjects. Okay, the total marks that this pie chart represents is actually what? 540, that is given here. Now, this problem will be a piece of cake for you if you have watched the introductory video to pie chart, or where we have covered the theoretical portion on pie chart, where there we have discussed this concept in a detailed way, okay, in very detailed way. So the video link for that tutorial you can find in the description box below. Still, I'll try my best to explain you here. Let's take this sector of mathematics. Okay, this is 90 degree. And let's suppose that the marks that this student has got in mathematics is X. Okay, now in that theoretical discussion, we had discussed that if we are taking, let's say this one, this whole is what? 360 degrees. So 90 degrees divided by 360 degrees, this will give you the fraction, of this sector, that is of this whole, the fraction that this sector represents of the whole. This ratio of the fraction is actually equal to this X by 540. The fraction that you will get from the division of this angle will be equal to the fraction that, if it is X, then whatever fraction you get if you divide this by the total marks. This we have discussed there in the theoretical portion. Okay, now, so suppose that you don't know what the value of X is, but from here you can calculate it by simply applying the method of cross products. This gives you X is equal to 90 degrees by 360 degrees times 540, right? Now, you can solve it here. If you solve it, you get X is equal to, if you solve this, you get 1 by 4, right? And this is 540. If you solve this, you get 1 by 4. And from here, you get X is equal to 4 times 1, then 4 times 3, 12, and X is equal to 135. So the value of X is equal to 135 marks in the case of mathematics. So this is the important thing. This portion is the important thing, that the ratio of the angle that is being made by each sector, the ratio of this central angle to the total angle, that is 360 degrees, will be equal to, this fraction will be equal to the marks that each sector will represent divided by its total marks. Now, the first part says, in which subject did the student score 105 marks? Now, the information that is given to us is that if the student has scored in one of the subjects is equal to 105 marks, then which is that subject? You don't know from here. So what you can do is, here, can you see this one? So what we are given is 105. Imagine that this is X and this is 540, right? 105, 540. And let's say that angle we don't know, the central angle we don't know. Let's say that is actually X. That is actually X. And then this is 360 degrees. Now, if you apply the cross multiplication here, you get X is equal to 105 divided by 540 and times 360 degrees, right? So if you solve this one, you get X is equal to 70 degrees. X is equal to 70 degrees. That is, when a student gets 105 marks in a subject, then the central angle that a sector will make in this pie chart will be equal to 70 degrees. So that sector is which one? It is this one, right? So 70 degree is for which subject? Is for Hindi, right? How many more marks were obtained by the student in mathematics than in Hindi? So clearly, we have calculated, let me remove this one. We have calculated the marks obtained by the student in mathematics. We have calculated this one. But we don't know about Hindi. Let's calculate this one. That's very easy. So for Hindi, which sector is for Hindi? The sector that is for Hindi is 70 degrees, right? So we know the marks here. Sorry, we know the marks for Hindi. If for Hindi it is 105 marks that we have just calculated here. I'm sorry, I should have not removed it. Let me bring it back. Okay. So for x is equal to 70 degree, it is for which one? It is for Hindi. So for Hindi it is 105 marks, right? And for mathematics it is 135. So if you subtract 105 from 135, you get 30 marks, right? So how many more marks were obtained by the student in mathematics than in Hindi? It is 30 marks. Okay, the third portion. Examine whether the sum of the marks obtained in social science and mathematics is more than that in science and Hindi. You have to examine this one, whether the sum of the marks obtained in social science and mathematics, these two sectors, is more than that in science and Hindi. So what you will do? Are you going to calculate the marks for each of these sectors that have been asked for here? No. What you do is you simply add these central angles together, because the greater the central angle is, it means that the greater marks the student has got in those two subjects, in that particular subject, or if you add the two sectors, that means in the two subjects, right? So this is 90 degree. Clearly, of all these sectors, this central angle is the greatest one. So clearly this student has got the greatest mark in this mathematics, okay? So in the the maximum marks in the mathematics. If you add these two, 90 plus 65 is what? 135. Is 135 degrees. And if you add these two is 155 degrees. I'm sorry. This should be 155 degrees. And in this case, this is 150 degrees. These two sectors, because you have been asked for social science and mathematics and science and Hindi. So the total angles made by these two sectors at the center is 155 degrees, and the total angle made by these two sectors at the center is 150 degrees. So clearly, if you combine the marks of mathematics and science, then that mark is actually greater than the marks obtained by if you add these two subjects together.